Hey everybody, it's Winston. The Seer's been out for a couple of months and it got its first rebalance, so I think now is a great time to talk about some of the skills that work well and some of the strategies around using those skills. So the most recent rebalance was to nerf Sanctuary. Sanctuary was a no-brainer skill. You just used it every single turn. You accumulated a huge bubble on some of your heroes. You accumulated tons of delayed heals, and you didn't really have to play at all. You just hit that one button over and over and over again. So Sanctuary is still pretty useful, but I think it takes a little more strategy to get it right. And I think in general, healing is kind of a reactionary ability. If you can't react to your heroes taking damage, it can be difficult to keep them alive. And so I think in that way, the Seer isn't the best healer. I think that the Priest is a better healer, and sometimes I think even a Health Potion might be a better healer. You didn't hear that from me though. So I have actually been playing the Seer as a pure damage class. So you can see my build here is all about doing damage and slowing down your opponent and speeding up your homies. Let's just jump right into it, and I'll talk first about the skills I'm not using. So there's Future Sight and Time Swell. These are both cool skills. They're kind of costly. 20 mana points is kind of a lot for what they do. Stack limit of 1 is rough because you can't spam it. It's by design. You're not supposed to be able to spam it. But also, once it's cast, it's cast. You can't really do anything else until the stack runs out and you recast it. But maybe that's a good thing for some people. Time Swell is super cool as well. Oh, the other thing about this one is you get a delayed heal, which is useful. It's kind of a small heal. I don't know that it's like a huge heal because you can kind of spam this one. So the heal had to be sort of on the weaker side. So I don't love the heal. Next is Time Swell. This will make your teammates faster. You actually can't cast it on yourself. Super useful for the box because it also increases resistance increases resistance to slow by quite a bit, and slow can be a killer in those last rounds, last few fights or turns of the Bach battle. Your mama's got you gusted, and it can be really difficult. We're doing boars, so it's not quite as useful for boars. I mean, speeding up your players, your teammates is good, but you also have to cast it one at a time. It's not like a passive thing. Stack limit of 1, so you can't double them up or anything. Yeah, so I don't know. Time Swell is kind of cool, but I think that the real star of Tier 1 is going to be Warstone. It has a short channeling period. So you'll want to be smart about how you use it. If you're channeling in front of a baby boar that doesn't have the headbutt cooldown on, you're going to get headbutted probably. On the other hand, if you're smart about it, it's it can do quite a bit of damage for only 13 mana points. 13 is cheap. That's fairly low compared to other magic damage skills. So you can afford to have it be broken once and then just channel it again. Tier 2, we'll start with the Oracle. I don't love the Oracle. I don't love having all damage reduced to 0. There's lots of basic attacking in battles, and I don't know, you run out of mana and that's it, the show's just over. So I don't know, I don't love that one. Artificer, this one is hard to say and hard to play. I think that the bubbles are cool, but it just feels kind of unreliable at times. It's sort of, I'm never oh no, but I'm always oh, there's a bubble, okay. Which brings me to Astrologer. This is kind of my favorite one. Really consistent. 5% haste. You're going to speed up your tank and your other damage, dude. Your archer and your warrior or whatever. So this kind of brings us to Tier 3. This is the star of the most recent rebalance. This used to be a spammable skill that just gave you tons and tons of bubbles and delayed heals. And now with an Amnesia 2, it's kind of more balanced to where it's supposed to be. Still a great skill. Not a no-brainer. Spammy boy, though. Purification Stone has big implications. It works very well if you can get it off. I mean, it does have channeling, 16 mana points. It's not terribly expensive. Yeah, this is a great spell. But I think that after Sanctuary always outshined it, and I think it still kind of does, even with Amnesia 2. But now, as a damage-dealing Seer, you want to use Time Sync. Time Sync rules, it does a pretty good chance to slow based on your intelligence, and then it does a pretty good damage amount based on the target's agility. So those slippery, agile boars are going to be feeling the burn. And with Amnesia 1, you can't spam it, but you can stack them. You can get a couple lined up and be able to plan for 300 or 400 damage in the future. And finally, that brings us to Tier 4. Osmotic Ward is a cool skill. It's really useful on the Demon box, but that's kind of the only place you're going to get the big bang. This is a magical ward, so magical damage triggers it. If it's hit by physical damage, it just goes away. Next is Rejuvenation Stone. Rejuvenation Stone kind of rules. It's a channeled ability, so it it has all the problems that go into that. But you get a big heal and then 2 delayed heals. So if you can get it off without the person dying, the guy you're trying to heal dying, they should live for a while, and you won't really have to do anything to keep them alive. Also, at Amnesia 1, you can use it often. So it's not one that you have to use it and then wait a long time before you get back in the mix. Finally, that brings us to Chrono Purge. This is like the skill that I want to use in this build because we're doing damage. This has a delayed damage of 1.5 times spell plus 2 times intelligence, and that is a lot. It's a lot of damage. It's got amnesia 4, so you'll want to use it early when it's up. You want to get it into the mix, get that delayed damage moving. It also can dispel abilities and negate delayed actions of the enemy. Negating delayed actions is really only useful for the demon box right now, and then dispelling is useful, but I think you want to use this more for the damage. Like, dispelling is above damage on the bullet thing, but I think it's actually below it as far as usability. Like, you're gonna just want to cast this to hit people. Like, that's it. You just want to hit them with it. It's easy. Yeah, so that's the build that I like to use. The basic strategy is going to be you want to lean on Warstone once the babies have kind of headbutted, or if it's like obvious you got one haunted or to your warrior or whatever, then you're going to want to use Warstone. Generally, whenever Chrono Purge is up, you want to find a way to use it, because Foy Amnesia is a long time. So, you can use it once or twice in a fight, or 3 or 4 times in a fight by using it once, and then 4 times later using it again and trying to use it. So I try to use it whenever it's up. Time sync is awesome. I would say worry less about trying to, like, okay, I slowed this front baby, now I'm going to slow the middle baby, now I'm going to slow mama, I'm going to go slow the front. Like, I think that the damage is more of the star here, and the slow is just kind of like, oh, nice, I'm going to get that damage, and I slowed him down a little bit. That's fantastic. So I think switching the mindset from a slowing ability to a damage ability is what makes this one really powerful with Amnesia 1. So you're just not your spammer, but you're going to want to be using this one quite a bit as well. Yeah, and that's kind of the strategy. So you're going to want to use damage from both of these guys in the normal way, and then when the time comes, taunt is very important for the warrior. Yeah, so that's going to be it for this video. Come back and see the next video where I actually fight. Get ready for that. It's going to be something.